myself. That was pretty good because I did not have any HR non-compliant language during that moment. So please put that down on my permanent record if you are watching today with us. Thanks. All right. Some days it's just Murphy's Law. Everybody's been in the military. We all know that anything that can go wrong, more likely will go wrong. That's why we want to make sure that doesn't happen to you when you're going to use your VA home loan benefits to buy a new home. So today, to make sure that Murphy doesn't come get us, we're talking about the difference between a pre-qual letter and a pre-approval letter. It's kind of like the difference between a steel pot and the K-pot. They're very similar. We wear them on our heads. This one's we all have a love affection with because you could carry your water in it. You can do it with this one, but it just doesn't taste as good because it's a little stinky. So we want to make sure we're talking about the pre-qual. One of the main things with this is it's a verbal loan application. So this is exciting time of the year. Spring's coming. We're going to get into that spring home buying season. When you're looking at homes, you get excited about them. You're like, wow, you know, I can see myself sitting on the back porch after I've gone to the Class 6 store, having an adult beverage of choice, and we make that great rash decision when we want to go buy that house. One of the things, though, we have to remember that there's a seller involved, and that seller wants to know who they sell their house to is actually going to be able to buy it, and that's where that difference between pre-qual versus pre-approval comes in. So the verbal side of this means you're going to call someone up, you're going to spend maybe 20 or 30 minutes on the phone talking to them about why you should be able to buy a house. We're going to look at maybe your employment, your residence history, ages of your children, if you have any daycare costs associated with them, and all of that information can be gathered verbally. But there's some other things that you want to talk about. It's the COE. It's kind of like the Department of Veterans Affairs golden ticket. That's what allows a veteran to actually receive the VA guarantee to purchase a home. You want to make sure that you have that documentation and you know if you served in the Guard or in the Reserves. Please, please, please call one of our VA experts here at Low VA Rates so we can help you get your certificate of eligibility, because Guard and Reservists have that ability to purchase a home even if you were in the Guard or Reserve back during the Vietnam War era or in the 70s. But what happens is the databases of information are not all tied together. So we can help you get those documents, because that certificate of eligibility is one of those key pieces. As we get down here and we talk about the pre-approval, this is also, it starts out verbal, but then it goes into a critical step where it's validated. And this is the key thing, because remember, the Department of Veterans Affairs wants to see paper documentation. We all know that nothing in the military moves without a piece of paper. It's the same way with your VA home loan benefits. It's all going to start verbal, but at the end of it, it's going to have validation requirements. And the key thing that's different with these validation documents on the pre-approval, this conveys to the seller that you have had your income reviewed, you've had your credit reviewed, and an underwriter has signed off on that in addition to the automated underwriting decision. Very, very key, because that conveys to the seller as they look at your offer compared to others, you're going to be able to close on a faster timeline and have less stress associated with it. Because when you move, if you're PCSing across the country, or if you're leaving an apartment or a rental home that you're in and you want to move into your dream home, it's all about timing. You have movers, you have people lined up to help you move. You've got to make sure that your satellite TV is ready so you can watch the NCAA tournament this weekend. These are critical things that this validated pre-approval allows you to move with confidence. And that's one of the big things that this instills, is that confidence level. It gives you confidence in your ability to purchase the house. It gives the seller confidence knowing that you're going to be able to purchase the house. And one of the things, as we get into the validation piece here, you're going to send your W-2s, your tax returns, your 2 recent pay stubs, 30 days, and you're going to have your assets. Now your assets, we all know you can buy a home using your VA home loan benefits with no money down. But again, the asset section of it is, maybe that is what is the difference between an approval and a non-approval because of your unique situation. Or if you have some savings in a TSP account, I know that the TSP system doesn't send quarterly statements often, and if you want to gain online access to those records, it's going to take you about 2 weeks of time. And one of the things, if you did a pre-qual offer and you did not validate those assets, you may be running out of time, and it's going to push or extend your closing date from the week or the day of the month that you thought you were going to close. It may add 7 to 10 days on top of that. Now, you don't have a place to live because you already told your landlord you're moving out. Or if you're lucky, if you're living in your basement of your mother-in-law's house, you get to spend 10 more days with her, and vice versa. We don't want to put you in that kind of situation as a veteran. We want to make sure we close on time. So as we look at these things, remember our pre-qual, it's verbal only. Doesn't convey a sense of confidence and strength to the seller, and we want to make sure we do that. When we come down here into our pre-approval, it's all about confidence. You're going to give that application, then you're going to validate it with your W-2s and those income documents. The other thing, if you have a divorce hanging out there in your past, please track down the copy of that divorce decree, because odds are, somewhere during this validation piece, it's going to be requested. And if you don't have it, let us know up front. Perhaps we can work through that condition. So, we know the difference between our steel pot and our K-pot. We always want to make sure we are with the K-pot family. Do we have any questions today? All right, my last public service announcement. One, if you're watching the NCAA tournament this weekend, please don't throw any sharp objects at the TV, and always play nice with your neighbors, because they may not be the same fans of your teams as yours and theirs. And the other one is, this week is the first time that we're going to celebrate a National Vietnam Veterans Day. Timing is very perfect because a week ago, last Friday, was the 50th anniversary of the My Lai Massacre, one of the dark days in United States Army military history. But it's also one of those things that is still taught at all service academies. I know at the home of the infantry at Fort Benning, it is still taught there in their curriculum. So we always remember, we always learn from our mistakes, and we always go forward and get better. So have a safe weekend, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next Friday.